Welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our journey to the 250,000 subscriber. So look, no need to unsubscribe. In fact, you should continue to subscribe and share with your friends because there's going to be a lot to talk about, more now than even before. Considering yesterday, the Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, was asked if he would step down if Trump asked for his resignation. Powell turned around and said no. Remember that Powell's term goes through 2026. Let's watch the clip.
Victoria. Hi, Victoria Guido with Politico. Some of the president-elect's advisors have suggested that you should resign. If he asked you to leave, would you go?
No.
Can you follow up on, do you think that legally you're not required to leave?
No.
Mike?
I mean, you want to talk about a guy who sounds pretty emphatic to me? The answer is no. In fact, you may remember that Trump actually hired Powell in 2017. All right, he was very unhappy, didn't think that he moved interest rates fast enough for him or lowered them fast enough for him. And so, he obviously has criticized him many times. Then Powell was further asked if Trump even has the power to get rid of him. And the answer to that, again, according to Powell, is no. Play the clip.
Do you believe that the president has the power to fire or demote you, and has the Fed determined the legality of a president demoting at will any of the other governors with leadership positions?
Not permitted under the law.
Not what?
Not permitted under the law.
Thank you.
Again, pretty short, pretty curt, pretty, emphatic about the fact it is not permitted under the law. It is a separate agency, and he has his term, again, expiring in 2026. Now, here's what The Hill had to say about the situation. The Fed is a politically independent agency and closely guards its reputation. But in August, Trump suggested he should, and here's the quote, have at least a say in monetary policy, including interest rates. Why? Because he has made a lot of money. Next one. Trump later walked back his comments during an interview with Bloomberg. Not the part about making a lot of money, but about the other portion. I think it's fine for a president to talk, he said. It doesn't mean that they have to listen. A president certainly can be talking about interest rates because, I think, I have very good instincts. That doesn't mean I'm calling the shot, but it does mean that I should have a right to be able to talk about it like anybody else. Now, he's right about that. I won't argue he's right to talk about it. Doesn't mean that someone like a Jerome Powell is going to end up listening to him. In fact, he most probably wouldn't listen to him. And the fact that he has good instinct, the fact that he's made a lot of money, and again, these are all according to him, I'm not really sure that those are prerequisites within which to make recommendations to the Fed chair. Now, again, out of courtesy and respect to whoever the president of the United States may be, sure, I'm sure if President Biden reached out to Jerome Powell, he would take the call. I'm certain that if President-elect, when in office, reaches out to Jerome Powell, he will take the call. And I'm sure he can have that conversation. But I want to be clear. My history with Donald Trump doesn't call to have a conversation. He calls to tell you what he wants. He calls to task you with a function. And here, Jerome Powell, again, is being emphatic in stating that we are an independent agency and we are not guided by the whims or the desires of any sitting president. Then, on Hannity, goes on and they discuss this on his show. Play the clip.
Well, it's an unelected position. I say Steve Moore, if he wants to fire him, get Republicans to join with him now that they have a majority and throw him the hell out. That's up to President Trump.
Look, I'm not a lawyer, but I do think that one of the most powerful people in Washington is the Federal Reserve Board chairman, and he's accountable to no one. And I think that's bad for our democracy. And I think the president should have the authority with Congress to remove him. But look, Jerome Powell is one of the people, along with Joe Biden, who created this inflation in the first place. And, you know, Joe Biden gave a talk today saying, oh, I'm handing off to Donald Trump a healthy economy, and this has been a great 4 years. So, like, come on. If you look at the exit polls that I just looked at today, Sean, from the voting on Tuesday, once again, how many times have we heard this? 68% of Americans said the American economy is headed in the wrong direction. And I do believe this wasn't so much a repudiation of Kamala Harris. She's kind of a footnote in history. I think Joe Biden is going to go down as one of the worst presidents in American history.
Yeah, and I would disagree with him very strongly, so to speak. In fact, as of this recording, the stock market is now over 44,000. Interest rates, while high, are still coming down. Unemployment is still the lowest in history. You got to stop. And the exit polls by people who have no idea other than regurgitating what they keep hearing being put out there, misinformation, disinformation, malinformation. Yes, there are things that are more expensive. Okay, they are. But there's a global economy that's causing this. I mean, it's too simplified for them to say it. And shame on Sean Hannity for turning on. There are processes, all right? And the fact that Republicans now have the House and they'll have the Senate and the White House, and including the Supreme Court, you got to do what's right for the country. And I'm not so sure that just to appease Trump so that he gets whatever it is that he wants is the right thing. I don't know. Again, none of us know. We're all talking out of our ass hypotheticals. Maybe just whoever he may end up putting in there may end up doing something great. You think I don't want my interest rates on my mortgage to go down? Of course I do. You think it's not too expensive at 6.5%, 7%? Sure, when at one point in time I was paying 1.25%. You remember that? You remember also that kind of helped to spark the mortgage crisis? But we won't even get there. All I know is everybody's talking right now as if they have facts in terms of what the next person might end up doing that's going to benefit anybody. And to go and to rely upon exit polls, come on, give me a break. That's not how you put your answers together. And while I'm on this topic of Trump's cabinet members, I want to show you a clip of Congressman Jamie Raskin on Chris Hayes' show discussing Elon Musk's potential place in the Trump administration. Scary. Play the clip.
You know, one thing I've been thinking about, which is a new dimension here, and I think is one of the more unnerving aspects of where we are right now, and I think is also something that would make a lot of the founders retch, is the kind of Elon Musk angle, which is this sort of, you know, the richest guy in the world allied with state power, private power and state power, a guy who spent hundreds of millions of dollars to get Donald Trump elected, who has a ton of government contracts and is going to be like hanging out in the White House all the time. And just it's just almost cartoonishly a corrupt setup.
I mean, it's like all of the Batman villains taking over Gotham City. You know, the Joker, the Riddler, the Penguin, they're all just moving in to City Hall. You know, you pick an interesting case because it's not just that he's a multi-billion-dollar government contractor who just spent hundreds of millions of dollars to get his pet candidate elected, but he's also apparently been talking about taking a job running an efficiency commission. Well, if you take a job with the government and you sell your private holdings, you don't have to pay a capital gains tax at that moment. And it was occurring to me last night that he could save hundreds of millions or perhaps billions of dollars in capital gains taxes by taking a job, which I'm sure he will say he's forswearing the salary for, which is the big Donald Trump trick. He says, oh, I didn't even take my salary. I'm just getting paid by China, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, in effect, by having all of the millions of dollars flow through the Trump hotel and the golf courses.
I want to give a shout out to the great investigative outlet, The Lever, which I really recommend to people. They do great reporting, which put its finger on that before I saw anyone, basically, that there are hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollar windfall available to him. I think old Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson used this, and Dick Cheney did, and all these different. If you go into government, you can sell, you don't pay capital gains taxes. It's like an astounding amount of money on the table for him. I want to ask you about.
Yeah, for Elon Musk, it's not hundreds of millions, and it's not even billions. It's many billions of dollars. Remember, you're talking about the guy who started the company, so he's got all the stock. Look, again, there's no point in trying to come up with the hypothetical as if, we have a crystal ball. Am I skeptical? Of course I am. But at this point in time, what can any of us do? The answer is nothing. We have to wait for the malfeasance to occur, assuming it does it all. And it's why I turn around and I say, do not unsubscribe, subscribe, share with a friend, because we need to talk about all of this stuff each and every day to make sure that our government is working for us, not for themselves. We've already seen during the last administration how many people in that administration were working for themselves. All right, Google it. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Not for the country, not for the benefit of the country. And we can't afford another 4 years of that. So stay subscribed, share with a friend, and see you soon. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. We're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.